Hi, Celine here, and I just wanted to pop on and say a few words. It's been a good week or two, I think. And just if you're new to my channel, my name is Celine, and I really set up the channel to support anyone who's looking to improve their lives, learn from struggles, and go on to live a life that's really authentic. And I don't claim to have all the answers. My purpose, really, and really what drives me, is the shifts and the amazing changes and transformations that have taken place in my own life in the last 6 or 7 years. And I just want to share that. And if that resonates with you, or maybe triggers, or causes you to go and explore in your own life, and also go on to live a life that's really true to you. I think this is what we're all here to do now, to live lives that are very authentic and free and creative and really reflect who we are. And that's what I suppose, been reflecting on for the last while. And today, just the words kept coming to me about new beginnings, new beginnings. And I just wanted to share a few thoughts on that today, and some tips for navigating new beginnings in your life. Um, I've a I've had a lot of new beginnings. I'm sure you have too. The most recent, it was my birthday yesterday, which was always a lovely new beginning. It's the 1st of March, and I love it being the 1st of March. It feels like the start of spring. It's always, every year, I think everybody's birthday is sort of the spring, the starting point of a new year, whenever it falls. And I just feel that in my own life this year, a lot of new things happening. I mean, there's a lot of changes happening in the world, and we can get lost sometimes in the old. But I really believe, and I've seen the impact in my own life when I focus on the new. So that's what I want to talk about today. So yeah, it's I like to mention my birthday, but also I am launching my new book this weekend at a wonderful. It's the first of its kind, this new creatives retreat that's taking place in the west of Ireland this weekend, and I'm lucky enough to be someone who's speaking at it, but I'm also launching my book at it, Gifts from the Devastation. So I'm really delighted about that and excited about it. That's a new beginning, sort of birthing that into the world. I'll put links below if anyone's interested. I'll have an audiobook and the print and ebook. They're officially available through the print and ebook through the publisher on the 25th of March, and the audiobook I'm narrating and recording myself, and I'll be selling that direct. So I'll share links, and they're available to order now. But aside from that, so that's one of my new beginnings. I've had lots, I'm sure you have too. Some thrust upon me, some I chose, but we always choose them. I just think I'm a little bit of a slow learner, so sometimes it takes a few nudges for me to get started on a new beginning. But like, I've gone through a marriage breakdown, having to start again. I've gone through like moving away from home after college to a whole new city, whole new job, new friends, new people. I've changed job and moved again. I've gone into new relationships. I've left relationships. I lived abroad in Greece for a while. There was a whole new exciting and scary adventure after my marriage broke up. I've had a new beginning most recently after cancer, which got me into a whole new career and way of living. So just a couple of points around new beginnings. As I said, they can be thrust upon us, and they can be difficult. So that the things that I've learned, I suppose, about new beginnings is they're always calling us, however they start, to really move into living more fully and more deeply as ourselves, and more into our purpose and the next stage, whatever that next stage looks like. I like to think of it like listening and tuning in to my own drumbeat. We all march to our own drumbeat when we find it. And I think the key in life, no one else can hear your drumbeat, no one else can hear mine, but we all must honour our own and honour each other's. And I think that's really when we step into when I think of the gifts of some of the challenges I've been through, the most recent would be cancer, is the gift of coming into my creativity, which really was so suppressed all my life. The gift of remembering who I am, this really amazing creative source energy. I'm an aspect of that creative source that I come from, and it's just amazing. Tapping into it, it just started to ripple into my life. You know, it's like you put the switch on by touching it, and then that power just starts to unfold in your life. So that's been an amazing gift. And also the freedom is coming back into that sort of freedom to be true to myself and to really express and honor that drumbeat, as I call it. And it's changing and evolving. Writing is one aspect of how that started to come about in my life. I really can say 100,000% if we don't at some point in our lives choose to honor this very unique sound and voice that is ours, we will suffer. And I think long before we ever went into, lockdown a few years ago, people were suffering. I saw it around me. I saw it in my work. I saw it in general in the world, the anxiety, the depression, the inequality, so much. So, this is an opportunity. I see this is a new beginning collectively as well as individually. And it's really important. This is how we claim our freedom, is by honoring that unique voice that is ours. We first have to listen to it and tune into it. So I just want to share a couple of tips, 6 or 7 tips, I think, about how we can navigate, or how you can navigate a new beginning, however it starts. As I said, my most recent new beginning came about as a result of cancer. So something that maybe I didn't choose, or maybe I did at a higher level, but ultimately it has been, as difficult as it was, one of the most amazing gifts, which keeps on giving. I have to say that, because every day, I'm at the early stages of this. It's just unfolding in my life amazingly. So one of the first, tip number one, I would say, for navigating a new beginning is to tune into your intuition. So really around getting into the body, listening to that gentle, soft voice that wants to sort of work with you and nudge you into the next stage. It's a co-creative process, and yes, we can visualize. I'll talk through these tips in terms of my own experience, just to bring it to life a bit. But when I came out of cancer, I was very lost and I didn't know where to go, but I knew I couldn't go back. So I needed to focus somewhere differently. I did, because my life and everything had slowed down. I was quite tapped in and tuned into my body, and the sort of intuitions and gut instincts and feelings I was getting. It wasn't very clear, but it was starting. So what I did, and I at the time I did some training around life coaching, but that just happened to be something I did for my own development. And we started, and I read a lot and researched a lot. I started exploring visualization and visualizing without getting too specific, just sort of getting into, even sometimes, drawing out what my life might look like in 12 months' time, and just whatever came very intuitively, imagining and daydream. So I kept it quite, not too specific, but that sort of combined, that visualizing this idea of what my future might look like. And that has really started to get, what would I say, what started off quite like in the distance, like a hazy picture, has started to get clearer and clearer as time has passed. So it does show itself, it will show itself. So it's, to me, listening to that intuitive voice and also visualizing what it is you want to create in your life. They sort of go together. Being very conscious of your energy and your intention. So how then we start to bring, I suppose, life or momentum. I think a lot of once we visualize and we're listening, the energy of our intention and our actions and our words is really important. So I learned very quickly, I initially was sort of, my energy was very focused on, I don't want to go back to, and I kept thinking about and talking about what I didn't want. And I didn't want to go back to what I had been doing in the way I had been living. And I realized, no, I have to start. Nothing is going to change until I start putting words and my energy and my attention on, what's new. Now, some of that was just maybe, sometimes it was just, I want to read books around how I might change my life or things that interested me. I started talking to friends, and often then through conversations, I'll give you an example. I was very lost straight after breast cancer. So, in chatting to different friends, exactly what I'm saying here, I was saying, well, I don't want to go back, but I don't know how to move forward. And it was through that one friend who I just bumped into, hadn't seen in years, suggested a course to me called The Artist's Way. I've mentioned it before. It's a book by Julia Cameron, really helping you get in touch with your true essence and voice and creativity, and from a higher perspective. And I ended up doing that course with a lady who lives close by. That just started me. I mean, that was like the first step of a new beginning that I was handed, because I had expressed it, I had said it, I had put words to it, I had put my energy to it, my thoughts to it. So this is the power that we hold. And that set me, that literally, the amount of things that materialized and evolved and grew and still are from just that decision and that conversation to do that course. So hugely powerful. If you're looking for a new beginning, you've been thrust into a new beginning or whatever, just to realize the power that you hold in really giving life and bringing momentum to this new beginning. Another point I would say is, this was a big learning, and I'd always been a jump ahead. I want the answers. I want to know the destination. I want to know when I get there. That's not how life works. So I've learned, and I call it the breadcrumb trail. I keep my eye just following the breadcrumb trail. And I don't mean I do nothing, but what I do is, like I said, I went and started that Artist Way course. I had no idea would that have any major impact in my life or not, but it absolutely did. And even you have to, as they say, isn't it? Einstein says you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again expecting a different result. That's insanity. And I did that for years. So this was the start. But I've seen in my own life that when I take the next right step, I say that's in front of me, like the Artist's Way, that was the breadcrumb trail. Didn't know where that would lead. It actually led me to write my first book. I didn't know that was going to happen, and it led me to publish it. I was then, as a result, introduced to someone who asked me to speak at an event. So there was a knock-on effect, and I've that really. I actually find that now such an exciting way to live. It can be scary at times when things aren't always, there's a rhythm, and I'm finding that in my life, a rhythm of where you move forward quite quickly, and then there's sort of a recalibration process or integration, and then you move again. So the breadcrumb trail is how I try to live my life. I really believe we are only shown the next step, and that's how we co-create, and that's because we keep our energy focused in the moment, in the present moment, and then we create, and then we move into the next moment. So I'd advise, that's worked, that works really well, I've noticed. Another aspect is healing and clearing sort of emotional trauma or any unprocessed emotions, because I'll tell you, I didn't really realize the importance of this. That allowed me to detach from the outcome, because what I've found in my life is when there's a lot of suppressed trauma and things I'm trying to avoid, or if I do this then I won't have to feel this, it makes it very challenging, and I often miss out on opportunities. And I may not have taken the risk to do that course because I knew going into it, there was going to be, it was a small, quite intimate group, and we'd be sharing a lot personally. Not that I would be forced to share anything, but I knew the type of environment and the person running it. Now, if I hadn't done some work on healing emotions, that could have blocked me from doing it, believing, oh, I can't go in there. What if I get upset, or what if something happens? So it's sort of, and that's an ongoing process for me. But the more I've cleared out, I sort of feel clear out all of that old, stuck, stagnant energy. It's making space for the new, so that as I move forward and set my sights and my energy on something, it's not being blocked. I may have mentioned this in another video, I don't know, but I love it. It's a lovely analogy. Michael Singer, the author who wrote the book The Untethered Soul, I may have mentioned it before, talks about our inner thorns. And basically, that's a way of describing the emotional, the unresolved emotions or hurts that we've suppressed and pushed down. And I was the queen of that all my life. And he says, what happens then is we create a life to avoid someone hitting off the thorn and hurting us. So imagine a thorn in your arm. So rather than pulling the thorn out, and as difficult as it is, it's quite quick. And feeling that and letting that, all it is energy that wants to move. And then we're much freer. We end up, if we suppress the emotion, we're just all the time dodging and ducking and diving in life, and it can keep us very attached to this has to be the outcome, or this has to be the way it goes. So that's always a work in progress for me, but been grateful. I've been supported to do a lot of healing work to clear out, and it's an ongoing process for me. And the final point, there are many more, but these are just what come to me today, is just be prepared sometimes for a kickback or a reaction. To me, that's a sign you're on the right track, because if you're shifting and changing and going into a new beginning, and maybe living and behaving and acting and talking and being in a different way, we all live and exist within systems, families, various systems, work, education, and there's a dynamic that goes on. So if one piece or one person changes in that, it can shake up other people. So I'm not saying in a doing it intentionally to upset others or anything, but I've noticed it happen in my life, and it hasn't necessarily been a personal thing towards me. It's just you're upsetting the status quo, I suppose. So I found, and particularly where it's been very useful for me to know this, is in the last few years, where we've gone through huge shifts, and we're only at the start, I believe, on the planet. And by me making certain choices, that's resulted in sometimes getting a kickback. In the same as in after being sick, I made new choices. I didn't choose to go back. I chose a new beginning. And so that, to me, I try and remind myself, that's always a good sign I'm on track. If it feels right, if I'm honouring myself, and there might be a little bit of shakiness around it in the environment around me, that settles down, but it's a good sign. So yeah, that's it. I hope it's helped you. It's just, yeah, it really, as I don't know about you, but I found the last few weeks quite challenging emotionally and energetically, and a lot of old stuff coming up, and a lot of rest needed, and various things. So that's partly as well why I haven't been making videos, but also I've been working towards the launch of my book. So yeah, it's been a busy time. I will be back on more frequently, and I look forward to sharing with you next week about how this new beginning is evolving for me, and what's happening. Meeting a whole new group of people, be really a whole new community. Really excited about that. So I wish that for you. I hope that whatever new beginning may be starting in your life, or you may be choosing, or maybe it's just happened because of circumstance. Trust. What do they say? Trust this new beginning. It's the beginning of something great. It always is. So thank you for watching. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, or liked, or do please comment. I'd love to hear your comments. Please do. I really enjoy making these videos and it's been a huge, as I said at the beginning, just there's been a huge shift and transformation in my life over the last 6 years that is just I'm so passionate about sharing what that continually, what I've learned and what I continue to learn, because I know the power, and I know the power it has for all of us, for you, for me, when we really step into living very authentically and from our heart and expressing ourselves. That's the key. So thank you very much. I will leave it there, and I wish you well, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching.